Hi everybody, this is Con. Yep, from the sound of it, this is a rather noisy car that I'm driving, the Mercedes-AMG C43. So just to recap, okay, the Mercedes-Benz C-Class range in Malaysia, you start with the 1.6 litre C180, then you have the C200, C250, then you have the C350E plug-in hybrid. Right at the top comes the C63 4-litre V8. This C43 3-litre V6 comes in right in between, and so it has the Mercedes-AMG badge, but it does not have an Affalterbach hand-built engine. In fact, this car is not even built an Affalterbach at all. It is actually locally assembled by Mercedes-Benz Malaysia in Pekan. That's right, a locally Malaysian-made Mercedes-AMG. So some people say, right, that this is like an AMG light. Okay, it is. They say this is like a down-spec version of a C63, but that is not an entirely fair statement to make, because what I would call this car, right? This car, it distills the essence of an AMG car into a more usable day-to-day package. Okay, so this 3-litre V6 up there, okay, it is a previous gen engine by today, but it is, it is still good for 367 horsepower. So this is not a slow car by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, now, but of course, one thing to take note is that when Mercedes-Benz Malaysia launched the CKD, the locally assembled C43, Mercedes-Benz Global have actually launched the facelifted W205 C-Class. So this locally assembled C43, you would expect it will be produced in only very limited volumes before Mercedes-Benz Malaysia rolls out the facelifted version. Now, I do not know why Mercedes did not just wait, for the facelifted version as well before straight away rolling out, the C40, the locally assembled C43 in its facelifted guise. But hey, look, we're not going to complain about this. We are just happy that this car is offered here, it is made here, and therefore it is priced more affordably than it previously would have been. The price is listed in the description section. I can't remember off the top of my head. Now, the other thing to note about this car, okay, is that these day and age, right, this segment, the C-Class, the 3 Series, the A4, everybody is now playing with 2-litre turbos, 2-litre 4-cylinders, making anywhere between 180 to 250 horsepower. So the 3-litre 6-cylinder powertrain configuration at this segment has become like almost non-existent. Okay, now back then, right, even as recently as maybe 6-7 years ago, the previous Gen C-Class, Mercedes-Benz still offered the C300 3-litre V6. Now boleao, now most of the C-Classes that Mercedes sell are the C200 and C250, maybe some C350E plug-in hybrids. So this C43 coming into the picture, if you ask me, very welcome development. And in the body as small as the C-Class, right, it is a fantastic pocket rocket, if you would like. Okay lah, partly because of our road tax, right, that puts all these 3-litre, 4-litre engines at a disadvantage. But for those people, those of you who have a bit more money and you appreciate the smoothness and the added refinement of a large capacity multi-cylinder engine, I am sure you would appreciate the option of having a 6-cylinder C-Class or a 6-cylinder E-Class, So Mercedes-Benz decision to assemble the AMG 43 here, AMG C43 here locally, it's fantastic news. And the other aspect of this car's appeal is that Mercedes has now positioned this car as an AMG product, a proper you know, with a full-on AMG badge. The only difference is that it is not assembled in a Volkswagen, but it is branded as a proper AMG car. Okay, and this to me adds to the car's appeal, because you see, previously, right, the C300 V6, okay, of the W204 generation, yes, it had AMG line body kit, but the appeal is not as high, because that car, okay, you had a big capacity engine, but when you drive it out, right, people don't see you any different from the next guy who drives the 1.8 liter C200 and C250. But here with the C43 AMG, you stick an AMG badge there. Gaya already, some more C43 double digit badge. So it gives your performance, okay, it gives you that added level of badge snobbery, if you like, that added level of credibility to your performance. So as a whole, right, as a product, you know, the AMG C43 is a brilliant concept, because it plugs the gap between the mainstream 4-cylinder C classes and the full-bore V8s with a very Goldilocks kind of, you know, mid-level, medium, you know, a kind of medium well package that is, you know, like what you can think of. It is a best of both worlds kind of thing, because it is not as hardcore as the V8 C63, but at the same time, it is just that one step up from the 4-cylinder cars. Locally, in the Malaysian context, Mercedes-Benz Malaysia's decision to assemble this car in Malaysia, that is a fucking baller move. Because if you were to go to any other car maker, and I'm looking at you, BMW, if you were to tell BMW to locally assemble the 3 Series 340i, they are going to tell you and say, we can't sell that many cars. Indeed, we can't sell enough cars. That's why the F30, they had the 335i discontinued. Now it's just, you know, the 318 and the 330e. With Mercedes, they really, you know, Mercedes on the other hand, it has full confidence in the C class that they can give you. You can choose your 1.6 liter C180 right up all the way to the C63, and in between I throw you some more, a V60 43, I assemble it locally. That to me, right, is a demonstration of confidence, and that is, you know, that is a company with absolute faith in its products, going for the jugular, going on the offensive, and, you know, and really pushing it. So if you ask me, overall, this is a very, very exciting car. So of course, in a while I'm going to adjourn outside for the walk around, but you know, we are all very familiar with the W205 C class, and this is soon going to be replaced with a facelift. So this walk around, okay, inside and out, I will just be focusing on the differences between this C43 versus the regular versus other variants of the C class. Now, a quick look outside the C43. Okay, now the bodywork of this car follows that of the regular C class. Okay, as in like the sheet, the metal, all the body panels follows the regular C class. If you are talking about the C63, the C63 features, you know, the panels of the C63 gives a wider are wider to accommodate a wider axle track, both front and rear. The C43, okay, of course, it gets all the additional body kits at the, you know, along the side, the different bumper design and all, the AMG line bumper design and all that, but the body panels follow the regular C class. Okay, so you see from the back, the profile, okay, the width of the car, the cross section of the car is identical to the regular C class. Okay, so but of course, you know, this lower section of the bumper, for example, this diffuser element, you get all this gloss black diffuser finish, you get a gloss black exhaust tips, and of course the badging. Okay, so Usually in a regular C200, for example, you get the C200 badge here, but here in this case you get the AMG badge, and you get the two-digit badge as well, C43. Back in those days, you know, a C43 would denote a 4.3 liter engine or thereabouts, but these days your 43s or 63s don't really correspond to your car's engine capacity. It's just to demonstrate rather the relative position of these cars' hierarchy. And in Mercedes convention, 2 digits are reserved for AMG, 3 digits are for the regular models. Okay, now so you have a closer look. These are the rims. These are a unique design for the C43s. These are Michelin PS4S tires, 255/35 ZR19s at the rear. At the front 225/40, so staggered size. You know, the rear tires are wider than the front, so if you're the type that like to rotate the tires front and back, you can't do it here lah. Okay, of course you see here, this is a this badge says 4matic. The C43 comes standard with all-wheel drive, whereas the C63, okay, which is more powerful, is rear-wheel drive. Now this may seem a bit funny, but it is at the same time it is oddly appropriate, because the C63 is meant to be a bonkers, you know, hardcore, crazy car. So when you channel that extra power over the rear wheels, you get yourself a more twitchy, a more edgy car. Whereas the 43s are meant to be, you know, more day-to-day usable, more friendly to the driver, more easily accessible performance. So distributing its outputs across 4 wheels in an all-wheel drive system makes more sense. It makes the car, you know, gives the car a safer handling characteristics. Okay, and so it gives you more confidence, you know, putting the power down on this car, especially when you're driving this car on damp or wet surfaces. Okay, now look more closely at the front. You see this enlarged brakes, cross-drilled discs with the AMG calipers. This is another visual cue of its identity. Then you have all these gloss black diffuser trim elements, and then of course this grill, you get these diamond elements on this grill for the AMG to denote its AMG status. AMG badge there as well. So you see I have a front camera here, okay, and you've got side camera as well. So this car has 360-degree camera, okay, and another cosmetic touch is that the side mirror is also darkened, okay, as so that's the outside of the C43. It's overall, right, it looks really like a regular C class, but you know, just subtly enhanced. Whereas with the C63, you can really see that this car means business. This car has more muscle. So let's say you are coming from a C180, right, or a C200. It is very easy to transform your car to look like this. But if you want to transform your C200 to look like a C63, you have to spend a bit more money on the body panels. Okay, so inside, look in the boot. Okay, you have electric boot release, and so you have this little foldable basket here as well. Very convenient for you to in case you want to carry loose items and you don't want it to run around. This is included. Then of course when you don't need it, you can fold it away. The battery is tucked away here, okay, and yeah, so this is a bigger boot than the C350 lah, okay, C350E. So electronic closing, powered closing. So inside, just a quick glance of the interior. So let's look at the doors first. So you see this red contrast stitching, this brushed metal finish, Burmester speakers, and you get sunshades. Okay, sunshades. And on the seats as well, you get these contrast stitching. You get the AMG floor mats. Okay, you get AMG floor mats. So seat belts also very aggressively colored in red. Now these isofix mounts, okay, some European cars, they have the isofix mounts which you just pull it away. This one, just push it, so this part is flexible, right? You just push it past and it exposes the isofix anchor here. Very nice. And then once you're done, you like to cover it back, just put it up, okay. And armrests, a cup, you got fold out cup holders, you got a compartment here as well. Close this, yeah. And individual headrests, panoramic sunroof, yeah. Let's step inside the cabin. Okay, so this is the front door card. Nothing new. Well, it's the same design as you would see in the regular C class. Of course, you get the Burmester speaker, you get this red contrast stitching, but everything here is the same as the regular C class. Okay, step inside, of course. So the layout wise, if you have come from the C class, this is very familiar looking. But one thing I wish they had changed is that this piano black trim. I know it looks pretty okay in showrooms, but my experience having reviewed more than one Mercedes car is that, one, these things attract dust, and two, they are quite easy to, this surface is quite easy to smudge, but mostly it attracts dust. And Mercedes have a lot of other better quality trim choices available. So I really wish they would have changed this to something a bit more attractive, considering this is, after all, the AMG C43. Maybe they could put, like, one of those open pore wood designs. I think that would be really, really nice. But otherwise, this is the same cabin as you would see in the regular C class. You get these extra buttons here along the side. Yeah, you get these extra buttons here along the side. This is present in the regular C class as well, but of course you get this button to activate manual mode of the transmission. You get this to alter your suspension suspension stiffness, right? So this car has adaptive dampers. And so another thing, Mercedes obviously never flipped these controls, okay, because whether you're left or right hand drive, right, you get this exact same one. And by right, these are all the driving related controls. They should be on the driver's side. Yeah, so Mercedes did not take the effort to flip these controls, okay. And so as usual, quality, the switchgear material looks very nice, very classy, very polished, but it does not feel as solid as you would find in, say, an Audi. Okay, so yeah, the look and the appearance wise looks very good, but the actual underlying quality is really second best if you put this next to an Audi. Yeah, okay. So one notable difference between this and a regular C class is the instrument cluster. You get the AMG badge here at the tachometer, and also you get this special AMG menu. Okay, so in the regular C class, when you browse through the center screen, okay, which you access through this touchpad here, you browse through the center screen. You have this trip computer, navigation, radio, media, telephone, and all that, driver assistant graphics. But here in the C43, you have this extra AMG screen that shows your turbo boost levels, your fluid temperatures. Then this is your G meter, and then this also shows the status of your of your various engine settings, suspension settings, steering settings, and all. Okay, well, you have a lap timer as well. So overall, this is pretty familiar stuff if you have come from a regular C class, just laced with some additional nice. It looks with a bit more sporty touch to it. Actually, my only real complaint is that I think they should have used a better choice of material for this center stack. But otherwise, yeah, if you like the cabin of the regular C class, you will like this one as well. Yeah, no question. Of course, I also miss having the center analog clock there that is present in the what you call it, in the C63. I wish they had this here as well, but that's not a big loss, certainly not a deal-breaking kind. Yeah. So once again, well, standard fare from Mercedes. Good overall job lah. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, right, the C63, it generates less power than the V8 C43, but it distributes that power across more wheels. Okay, whereas the C63 is rear-wheel drive, the C43 goes all-wheel drive, and the result of supplying this car with more power, with less power than it has traction, what you have is a car that you can power down with very, very sure-footed confidence. And when you compare, and no doubts, let's say like you put this on a straight line next to a C63, the C63 will make this car eat smoke. But the thing is, for most drivers, okay, for average drivers, okay, even me included, the C43 is a far more usable car. It is a car in which we have more confidence exploiting the full limits of its potential. Because think of it this way, your C63 has this much performance, but your kunjis are only big enough to use this much of it. Whereas your C43 offers you maybe this much, okay? But you have it gives you that confidence to use maybe about this much of it. So as a result, right, you get that satisfaction of maximizing more of its potential than you would in a C63. Okay, although bottom line, C63 is faster, but the C43 is a car in which average skilled drivers are able to enjoy more of, and it is also a very usable day-to-day car. The comfort levels of this suspension, I mean, for a car with AMG badging and all that, the comfort levels of this suspension is fantastic. Okay, granted, it runs on adaptive dampers, okay, which means that it is not as cheap to maintain as steel springs. But if you let's say like you drive this car over patched road or pothole, you'll be surprised at how pliant the suspension actually is. And when you are faced with the corner at the same time, this car really can pull itself around the corner. Now on the handling stakes, right, the C-Class, whichever model generation you care to look at, it has always been second best to the BMW 3 Series, and the W205 really is no different. In fact, I would say the C-Class that came closest to upset the 3 Series dynamic superiority in this segment was actually the W204. The W204 actually had tighter body control, it was more agile and more responsive. The W205 seemed a little confused with itself in the sense that it is not as comfortable as the F30 in most variants, yet at the same time it does not seem to handle as sharp. Okay, but of course, though, we are talking about the 4-cylinder versions. I felt the air suspended C350E was very, very comfortable. This one, the C43 here, with adaptive suspension, this one actually is pretty good. Yeah, it is better. It is definitely better than the regular C200s and C250s. But of course, you also have to bear in mind that because this one comes with AMG fettled suspension, and it also has adaptive dampers, right? So it naturally has the advantage. But if you were to drive this next to an F33 Series, the gap, okay, the deficiency in handling between this and a 3 Series is no longer as significant. Granted, you still trade off some of the 3 Series, outright sharpness, but this car offers you still a fair amount of body control. Okay, plus it gives you the security of all-wheel drive, which means that when it's wet weather, you have more confidence to power this thing around a slippery bend. But where this car, okay, and where the C43 really has a case in upsetting the BMW 3 Series as a driver's car is up front. AMGs are always, right, the appeal of AMGs have always been the engine. Okay, they have always been shouting about the soul of their hand-built V8s and all that thing. Okay, granted, this does not have a hand-built V8 up front, but the engine up front, my god, it is such a joy to work. When you accelerate, right, this thing, the engine just seems to pull with such relish. All you want to do is just to floor that thing. You just want to wring the bejesus out of that engine. I'm sure some of you would have watched my Genting run video with the C43 Coupe. I'm going to find time to do a Genting run with this car as well. But this 3-liter V6 engine is such a joy to use. Now I'm always, when it comes to engine, I'm always partial to BMW's inline 6 configuration. But if there is one car, one engine that would dissuade me from the whole inline 6 argument, this is it. This would be an engine that I would say, if you were to deprive me of the inherent smoothness of an inline 6 engine, I would be very, very happy to take this one. Be very happy to take this one. It may not be hand built, but it still has the soul of an AMG. It still gives you that satisfaction every time when you put your foot down and just rev it. You just want to rev it. Now, don't confuse that sound. If you hear that sound, it's a Harley out there alongside me. That's if you're hearing some sound, that'll come from this engine. Okay. The transmission. Now, this Mercedes uses an in-house 9-speed automatic transmission. I've always admired Mercedes for the fact that they built their in-house transmissions. Granted, neither the 7G Tronic nor the 9G Tronic are as well sorted as BMW's ZF 8HP gearbox, but building an in-house transmission is not something a lot of manufacturers have the ability to do. The majority of transmissions that majority of car makers out there outsource their transmissions from a third party, and Mercedes is one of the few car makers in the world that built their own transmissions. And I think even if it is not as good as the ZF 8HP, that is something that deserves there is a beautiful romance to it that I really admire. Mercedes for sticking to their guns with this with continuously trying to build their own transmissions. So the overall conclusion is this: okay, if you are buying a C-Class, if you are just talking about you want a C-Class and you like the C-Class, you want to be seen in the C-Class, and you just want to go around town and all that, a C200, C250 is good enough, cukup makan. But if you like driving, if you like, if you appreciate the additional mechanical refinement of a large capacity engine, this car is quite something. This car is a real gem, and I can't say this enough. Listen to that. Just listen to that, man. This, I mean, I have no doubts a BMW 3 Series handles better, but my God, just that joy when you tekan this engine, right? When you put your pedal to the metal, the joy that which you sense from the engine is, oh, the feeling is fabulous. And thank you, Mercedes, for actually, you know, making that call to build this car in our shores. I'm not sure if Mercedes will be able to offer a C-Class like this with the next model generation. We'll presumably see a locally assembled C43 with the facelift. But really, man, you may not get to. This may be your last chance to get a car in this category, in this segment, okay, with a good old 6-cylinder engine. Yeah, it is this car, right? This throws back to the, you know, the whole, that formula of just plonking a big engine into a small car and just watch it fly. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Okay lah. Nothing to say already, man. This car is brilliant. Okay, thanks for watching. Oh, 你啊，升爽撚到呢趟車。